Faces of Philanthropy is a series highlighting young philanthropists of color who give back and who do amazing work in their communities. Our goal is to debunk the stigma that you have to be of a certain social status to be a philanthropist, but you truly just have to have a heart for others. This is Faces of Philanthropy. I'm so excited to be here tonight with Mr. Julius Boatwright on Faces of Philanthropy. Welcome.
Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. Thank you for coming. So Faces of Philanthropy is a mini-series to redefine how people think about philanthropy, how people imagine philanthropy. And so we are here changing the face of philanthropy. So happy to have you here tonight. Julius, we have redefined philanthropy to the art of having a heart for others. And so art being a very unique and creative process based on your passions and your resources to serve and to show your love for other people. So how do you define philanthropy?
I would define it as just empowering other people to be philanthropists, right? You know, when you think of the traditional sense of philanthropy, it's just giving to people, right, to sort of solve some sort of problem, right? But if we just give to people and we don't empower them, then we can't solve the root of the problem, right? So I think empowerment and philanthropy go hand in hand.
I like that. And so how do you empower people? What's your art of philanthropy?
Yeah, so my passion is mental health, right? And not just connecting somebody to a resource, but really, again, getting at that root of what it is that somebody needs. What's the emotional cause of what they're dealing with? What's the root of the mental issue that they're facing, right? And you don't necessarily have to have a diagnosis, right? It can be just everyday people like you and me that have mental health challenges that we deal with, and just spending time with them and being non-judgmental and letting them know that I'm not giving them anything, right? They already have the power within themselves to seek treatment and to overcome whatever it is that they're dealing with. So again, really just empowering people and activating that sense within them.
Awesome, awesome. Now, in our community, you know, mental illness is, or even mental health is kind of frowned upon, or there's a stigma that, you know, you shouldn't engage in those services. How do you work around those challenges?
Yeah, just meeting people where they're at. You know, it's always going to be stigmatized. You're always going to have people who don't know how to access resources, or they have family members who discourage them from doing it. But just really meeting people where they're at, right? And just being vulnerable in a space with people, right? So I find whenever I share my story with people, I'm very, very transparent about some of the things I deal with. And people just automatically open up to that, you know, because they don't look at it as this sort of clinician to client relationship. It's like he's on the same field as me, right? So just giving myself the permission to be vulnerable allows other people to say, hey, I could do this. Like I can talk about what I need support with.
Right.
Yeah.
And so now you're doing your 90 days of street therapy as a beautiful example of, you know, meeting people literally where they are. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, so this is actually the first time that I'm sharing this, but it started out as 90 days of street therapy, but we're going to do it throughout the course of the year, right? Because mental health, it doesn't discriminate, and it doesn't care what time of the year it is, right? So, and there's so many different neighborhoods and communities in the city, but the purpose is really just to connect with people where they're at. People could be at bus stops, they could be at churches, they could be at libraries, and people who don't traditionally have access to mental health support, and saying, hey, we want to hear your story, right? So not coming in and saying you need mental health support, but what's your story? And usually when people tell their story, you start to hear about depression and anxiety and all the trauma and everything that's happening in the community. And from there, then you work to connect people to whatever it is, trainings, education, resources. And if they don't want that support, then just build that one-on-one relationship with them and kind of provide the support that they do want from sort of a non-clinical way.
Awesome. Yeah. That's excellent work. Thank you for your service. So what inspired you, or even did you think of this type of work as philanthropic? You know, what inspired you to do this type of philanthropic work?
Yeah, I'm really inspired from tragedy, right? I've had my own painful moments that I've experienced, and I use those to kind of give me that motivation and give me that fuel to continue to go out and support others. Because that, when you have that, you know, those moments, like when you're dealing with that thing that you're just like, I don't know if I could do this, right? And I know that every single person has a moment like that,
yep.
right? It may be different levels of sort of that vulnerability and that hopelessness, but everybody feels that at some point in time. So I know that I can connect with a stranger, I can connect with any person that's walking up and down the street, and if I spend enough time with them, I'm going to get to that pain. So, you know, I look at, you know, what we're doing through Still Smiling is everybody can benefit from it. Everybody has a cousin or a brother or a sibling, you know, an aunt or an uncle that has dealt with a mental health challenge, and everybody does deal with it too. So.
Awesome. Now, if people want to learn more about your work or want to get engaged, I've seen on some of your posts that you're accepting donations on, you know, people's behalf. How can we learn more?
Yeah, so it's stillsmilingpgh.org.
Okay.
Still Smiling PGH on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
Okay.
And it's Julius Boatwright on social media.
Okay. Awesome.
I am a God-fearing man. I am a servant. I am a community activist, and I am a philanthropist. You know, for anybody who has a chance to view this video, I would just say that if you feel like you're dealing with any type of, you know, mental or emotional, you know, going through a mental or emotional struggle, right, it's okay to seek support. It's okay to reach out for help. It doesn't discriminate, and it doesn't make you less of a person. In fact, that vulnerability and just walking into that pain will end up helping you. So if you need support, feel free to reach out. And if I can't provide that support, I'll be happy to connect you with somebody who can.